Good evening. It is Monday, July 22nd, 2013. This is your Islander speaking. Here's what's happening. Well, another disgraceful loss by the Mets this evening. They lose 2-1 in a game that, let's be honest, they gift wrapped away. And one of my other rants was very similar to this. Where the Mets had a 1-0 lead for most of the game and only to gift wrap it away. Well, sort of. At least, it wasn't a walk-off homer. This was a home game for the Mets. But anyway. The point being, it's losses like this which hurt. And honestly, if the Mets, laugh at me all you want. They came into tonight 10 games outside of first place in the National League East. But if you wanted to think about it, this is a critical series for the Mets. If they even want to just so much as have a chance, because if they, this is the series. If they don't at least split it or something, they might as well mail it in now. This was a loss that they gave away. They should have won this game. I'm not going to blame it on just a ninth inning, collapse there. Really. And you can just entirely blame the ninth inning in so many ways. But you start with the fact that the offense, relied on only one run. And mind you, the one run may have been kind of lucky because, it started off, what was it, the fourth inning, I believe? Marlon Byrd, lines what probably could have been a single at the most that Justin Upton misplayed, and it ended up underneath him, and it bounced, it bounced further away, it bounced far from Upton, and Marlon Byrd ended up on third base, and the next batter, Ike Davis, and you have to raise the flags and fire the cannons when Ike Davis, gets a hit, and an extra bonus when it's an RBI. So the Knox and Bird, 1-0. You want another point in this game? Dylan G no-hit the Atlanta Braves for 6 innings in this game. And, who broke it up, by the way, in the top of the 7th? Oh, yes, his old nemesis, Freddie Freeman. Yes, broke up the no-hitter with a single right up the middle, where, G had to protect his health. For God's sake, it came right at his face. So, whatever. That's a milestone. At this juncture of the year, you just care about the win, okay? When you're, fighting for something, trying to, at least, fighting for something, get it done. Forget about milestones, please. Anyway, so he gives that up, and then, G pitched out of the 7th inning. He had a bases loaded jam there, which he got out of. So, thankfully, I think the bases loaded with like 1 out or something like that. But then, the Mets had their chances to get insurance. The bottom of the 8th inning, they stranded runners on first and third. They stranded that. And then you go to the top of the 9th inning. And, 2 singles to lead it off. And you're like, oh, geez, really? And it's like, come on. You're relying on Bobby Parnell, who had done us well all year. Okay? Bobby Parnell had done us all year. Before that, LaTroy Hawkins, pitched a decent top of the 8th. So you're like, okay. Parnell, and like I've said, pitchers blow saves every once in a while. You sit there during the season, you're like, okay, it happens, blah, blah, blah. But when you consider Bobby Parnell almost blew a save on Saturday against the Phils, giving up Chase Utley, who loves coming to Citi Field, when he almost blows that save, and so you're thinking, all right, come on, Bobby, please. Gives up the first 2 hitters, and then the next guy, I forgot who it was, grounds out to third base right, who gets the lead, smartly gets the lead runner. Costanza. And, so it came in, and then the next at bat comes, and there's a passed ball. Passed ball on Buck, allowing the runners to move up to second and third base. Now, what are the Mets doing here? What do? They decided to concede the tying run. Like, are you serious? Are you that serious? Chris Johnson's at the plate. And then, you think the smart thing to do is you go and try to win the game. Whether it works or whether it doesn't. You intentionally walk the batter, okay? The thing they should have done was intentionally put the batter on base, load the bases, because there's 1 out at that point. Might as well just, what do you got to lose? You just load the bases and try and turn a double play and see what happens. But now, who is it? It was still Johnson. Johnson ends up, Chris Johnson, that is, because there is Reed Johnson, and I'll get to him in a sec. Chris Johnson ends up grounding out to shortstop, and that knocked in the tying run. And, they got the force at second base, but the tying run scored, so we tied up at 1. And you're sitting there and you're like, Terry, what are you doing? Like, come on, why are you conceding the tying run, Terry? Finish the game. The Braves are more of a power-hitting team. With all the power they have in that lineup. So Johnson gets on, after the fourth second, there's 2 outs. Then Reed Johnson comes in a pinch-hitting role, lines a base hit up in the center field. Braves take the lead. And then you're like... So you're thinking you're sitting there, and, the almighty Craig Kimbrell comes in to save the game. And, well, he was shaky. We kept having a pause there, like, looking at at his hand. I mean, I know it was raining, so maybe, balls were slippery and whatever. So he hits John Buck with a pitch. Buck comes out for a pinch runner, Andrew Brown. And then, let me think. Lagares struck out. Oh, no. The ninth inning led off. Pause. The ninth inning led off with Ike Davis, going back to being Ike Davis, striking out. Pitched right up the middle. So that's 1 out. Buck comes up, he gets hit by a pitch. He gets replaced on first base with Andrew Brown for speed's sake. I mean, come on now. And then Lagares comes up and strikes out, so that's 2 outs. And then Omar Quintanilla works out like a 13-pitch walk. So you got runners on first and second with 2 outs, and in comes Justin Turner, fresh from the disabled list. And then Turner comes up, hits a ball to straightaway center field, and you're like, it looks like it's going to fall. And then all of a sudden, Jason Hayward. And he's a big contributor on that Braves team, all 6'6" of him. He's coming off an injury himself to his hamstring and makes a ridiculous diving catch to end the game. And it was like, jeez. I mean, if it dropped, it would have at least tied the game. Possibly won it. With Omar Quintanilla, would he have ran it from first base all the way home on a play like that? You never know. So, with 2 outs, you just got to run. Run on contact. What do you got to lose? But Hayward made a heck of a catch. I'm not going to discredit him for that. That was a great play. But you look at this all in all, and you see that the Mets gave the game away. They should have won the game. I mean, granted, you can't rely on winning 1-0 games because the Mets seem to have that habit of having the pitcher pitch his tail off. It's happened plenty of times in the last few years. You can ask Johan Santana. You can ask Matt Harvey, John Meese, whomever. Okay? How many times had the Mets offense had tried to rely on their great pitching and trying to win 1-0 or 2-1? I mean, Dylan G had a no-hitter through 6 innings, and you give it away, ends up getting a no decision. I mean, really? Losses like that. So instead of being 9 games outside of first place, the Mets are now 11 games outside of first place. They could have taken advantage of the idle Philadelphia Phillies, the Nationals, who got beat again beaten again today. They lost 4 in a row after getting swept by the Dodgers over the weekend at home. So, I mean, had a chance, and they didn't do it. So, shucks. It's like you just look at it and you're like... So, they've given the Braves 2 games like this. And what can you say? What can you say? I mean, do you recover from a loss like this? I mean, okay, you give the Mets props because at least they didn't lay down and die against Kimbrell. But still, loss is a loss in this league. So, like I said, they don't quit. That Friday night game where they lost 13-8 after being down 11-0 to the Phils, at least they know they didn't quit. And at least they're fighting. It's almost like they're in it. Lately, even the games that they lost, they've been in it for all these games. The fact of the matter, you got to win these games. You got to put it away. And I know the bullpen has been pretty decent. Parnell's been a little shaky, but the bullpen lately hasn't been terrible. They really haven't. Albeit a couple games here and there. But anyway, the Mets have to recover. They got 3 more games against the Braves in this series, and you just have to win them. And yeah, makes you wonder. Anyway, with that said, this is your Island Blader speaking. I'm just gonna wrap it up for here. All right, talk to you soon.